we're just gonna let it rip instead of just being, giving test runs and stuff. All right, so Absolute Strength Gym Podcast. I'm here with my friend Dan Davidson. Say hello, Dan.
What's up, everybody?
Dan is quite the colorful character here. He's a pretty big part of our gym. He's always here getting after it, leading by example, and pretty much a really good influence in and around the gym. So, sorry, whacking the mic there. Just want to hear some of his insights on life, fitness, and things that are important to him, because I think everybody has their own unique perspective, and I think Dan's is one of the most unique that I know personally. So tell us a little about yourself, Dan.
Yeah, my name's Danny. I am, thank you. 33 years old, and I'd say I'm blessed and fortunate every day to have incredible friends, incredible family, and great support group, incredible community here at the gym, which is important. And I'm also fortunate to hang out with some special people outside of work, outside of my friends, whether it's doing some volunteer work and whatnot. And
tell us a little more about the volunteer work. I think that's a big part of.
I'm very fortunate to volunteer at a children's hospital, and because of some laws, I don't want to talk about which hospital, but it's a local hospital to Long Branch. And I would say that not only the nurses there that work extra hard around the clock, the doctors, but the children there and their families, they've done way more for me than I could have ever done for them. And that's definitely one thing that I take away and encourage a lot of people. Obviously, not everybody can give time. Some people, are fortunate enough to be able to give some money to help fund research
Sure.
and some activities for the kids to do, whether it's TV, board games, arts and crafts, video games. But if you do have even one day a month to get to your local children's hospital and just sit bedside with some of these kids and hear their stories, they range from days old, unfortunately, to where I'm at up to like 23. And they have incredible perspective on a lot of things.
I bet, yeah.
So that's it's definitely pretty powerful.
How much more rewarding do you think it is actually volunteering, other than like donating? Because it's that passive kind of, not activism is the wrong word, but passive, I don't know.
I think it is, like I said, one hand washes the other, and they both wash your face, so it is important that we do have funding, like I said, so that you can do different things. While it's great to talk to these kids, they do like to have a bit of normalcy throughout their day, and teenagers do play video games, so we're fortunate to have people that donate money so that we can have an Xbox and a PlayStation.
Sure.
At the same time, we have a couple playrooms there where the kids are able to walk to and do arts and crafts and or play board games and read and watch TV in a group and whatnot. So it's definitely, I think it's wherever situation you're in. Obviously, a lot of people work, or they have families that they have to come home to, and to even give whatever you can a month, money-wise, is great because it all goes towards something. And then this is where I'm at right now, where I'm fortunate I am able to be present there, and someday I might not be able to, and then hopefully I'll transition over to maybe donating money instead.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Outside of that, I'm fortunate to also hang out at an incredible animal shelter, Rescue Ridge, and what the volunteers there do for some of those pups and dogs and everything, and cats, and actually we even have a location with some other animals. Is pretty special. The amount of hard work that they do day in and day out, bringing dogs in, loving them, rehabilitating them if they do have if they did have a rough past, and those dogs definitely put a lot in perspective.
All right, we got to pause for a sec because somebody forgot something here at the gym. All right, we're back. That was quick. Somebody forgot their phone and jacket. Back to what you were talking about, Rescue Ridge, the animal shelter that you're volunteering at.
These, in many ways similar to these kids, but differently. Some of these dogs, unfortunately, have lived some rough lives, and they're not even a year old.
Yeah.
But the love that they show can teach us something that, no matter how hurt, no matter how deep your scars can be, it's the power of forgiveness is something that's
still have the capacity to love.
Love and to grow and to nurture. It is something special seeing some of these dogs. And some of them will come to us with, maybe 3 legs and still
happy as a clam,
happy as anything, hopping around, smiling all day long, and You know, like I said, the volunteers there are the dogs are incredible, but the main volunteers are there pretty much every day because I'm not able to get there as often as I'd like. I want to get there more, but the people that are there every day are special as well. And, you know, it just goes to show you that, unfortunately, some of these dogs came to us for various reasons. Sometimes it might just be their loved one passed away.
Sure.
But sometimes they did have a rough upbringing. But, you know, we do our best to love them all and try and get them to a new family.
Are you seeing a little less of that dog abuse stuff going now that these new laws are passing? You feel like it's a little bit more. I feel like society as a whole is frowning upon that so much that you're hearing less about it. Is that accurate? Is that something you would assume?
I don't want to say either way because I'm personally not sure. I do know that we do. Recently, we have been pulling some dogs from other shelters and. Again, like some of the volunteers there are great at rehabilitating these dogs. We have like a couple from Philadelphia, and they are definitely they definitely require a lot of love, and they get it. They're not loved any less. It just you have to be a little more patient with them. So we do have a couple from Philly and a couple from like Trenton right now. Okay. We've pulled a couple from Newark, and again, those cities have a lot of greatness to them, but unfortunately, some of these dogs had a rough upbringing in those cities. But their upbringing doesn't define that city or anything like that.
No, well, that's accurate. I would agree. All right, so what's your story? I mean, you athlete. What's give us the rundown.
I guess out of high school, I wanted to try something new, so I was fortunate to. Go to University of Maryland and walk on and play football just for 1 year. I didn't actually play. I was on the practice squad. Okay. Never got any playing time. I was only there for 1 year. Needed to focus on my academics and grades a little bit more. So
it's easy to not focus on that in college, that's for sure.
So that was my downfall, and but it was a great experience. Just being on the practice squad and seeing that caliber of athlete for that time.
Right.
You know, growing up in New Jersey, obviously there are some incredible athletes here, but it's a whole another jump when you get to that level. And then even seeing some of the NFL stars come back and explaining the jump from college to the NFL it's even more incredible. Yeah. And then from there, I was fortunate to I had applied for the NYPD, and it took me almost 4 years to get a call for that, and I'd also done FDNY.
Really? I would think that they'd be wanting. I guess there's a lot of people who want to get in those positions.
At the time, they weren't hiring. Kind of like it was a little bit of a downtime for hiring, and even FDNY went through a long phase where they weren't
after
hiring.
Like Giuliani had hired all these. He hired a shitload of cops.
Yeah, I had taken the test in 2008. I didn't even get on until 2011.
Wow. Okay. So
it was over 3 years.
Wow. Pause that thought, or keep talking to me.
So that was over 3 years, and that was that was an incredible experience. Right out of the academy, I was assigned to a precinct in Brooklyn North Transit. Okay. And but my first real assignment was New Year's Eve.
Oh, geez, how was that?
It was great. It was a 21-hour shift, and it was definitely an experience.
That was your first.
That was my first major assignment. I'd worked a couple days like on the trains, but that was my first major assignment. And where I was detailed, I was actually standing next to Ryan Seacrest and.
Okay, so you got a good detail.
Jenna McCarthy the whole time.
Yeah.
I even got to meet Lady Gaga and escort her to her vehicle for her to leave after she performed.
Now, how did somebody who just started get that detail? Was
just so happened to be the
was that luck of the draw?
Yeah, they were just like, you're going to stand here for until we tell you to leave, and that's it. And it just so happened I started at 10 in the morning. I didn't leave until like 7 the next morning.
Did you go to the bathroom at all?
You get plenty of breaks, and there's porta potties all over.
All right, because I always wondered that with that Times Square shit in New Year's Eve. Like, you wouldn't catch me dead out there.
Yeah, it's actually DSNY. They're the real heroes, and obviously NYPD, they do a great job. But the amount of filth afterwards,
it's gotta be crazy,
diapers and everything. It's not just from babies; it's from adults wearing them too.
No way.
Yeah, because they can't. I don't know how it is now, but they can't.
You can't move in there, right?
Well,
You're like corralled like goats.
Have, like a lot of porta potties in there because then if it's inclement weather, people are just going to go in there, stay in there. Who knows what they're doing?
Yeah,
you know. And again,
yeah.
like NYPD does a good job trying to screen everybody, but you can't have porta potties in there, so everybody's pretty much just, you know, releasing themselves on the street in the middle of Times Square.
So it's so gnarly.
And then, sure enough, right when it's over, DSNY is busting their ass, and a few hours later, it looks like you wouldn't even know that without some confetti on the sidewalk, you wouldn't even know that they're just.
They must have some really good pressure washers that they use, man. Jeez, that's gross. But all right, so that was your first real assignment. You were NYPD.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I was there for just under 2 years, and it was an incredible experience where I worked on the trains, so it wasn't in like at the precincts level.
Mm-hmm.
And it was definitely unique because obviously mass transit's a huge thing, so it added a whole nother level of interacting with
just the amount of people you're seeing.
Just the amount of people.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like I think it's something like over. I forget, but it's definitely over a couple million every day that at least swipe the card and use the trains. And it was definitely a unique experience from not like, you know, walking the beat or driving a car. We had to ride on trains every day. So if something happened a few stations over, we couldn't run. We had to get on the train, but then you have to wait for a train to come. And then the train's still stopping at every stop. So
there's no way
it's
for
not like
you
you're just beaming it straight there to help somebody.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow.
Or if you're in trouble, you might have to wait 10 or 12 minutes till somebody could. Or, you know, dispatch would try and go out to what we would call topside, like a local precinct, and say, hey, their closest help is a few stations away. Can you get over there?
Gotcha.
So it was a unique experience for
That's
sure.
That's really interesting. Yeah, it's got to be add a little level of uncertainty
to
what's going on there for sure. Yeah. Huh. So after that, you came into Jersey?
So after that, I was fortunate to I had taken some tests along the way, FDNY and a department in New Jersey, and I was able to come home, and that experience through that academy was definitely an extremely interesting one. Don't want to say who it's with, but it's definitely it was an incredible experience.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely it was worth it. It added a lot more perspective on things, and it was a stay away academy.
Okay.
And I had a great time. Formed a lot of unique bonds because we did, unlike NYPD was like 8-hour shifts, and you kind of left at the end of your shift. It just depended whether you were day shift or night shift. So you always went home every day. But
that was in the academy?
That was for NYPD.
Okay.
But for New Jersey, you know, we would stay there, you know, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And then leave Friday late.
So they had your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no.
You definitely formed some good, unique bonds, and you know, definitely went through some good stuff that I was actually impressed with, being that it was, you know, law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, coming from my experience in NYPD, this was tenfold.
Okay, wow.
So
Jersey representing. Like it.
And then after that, I guess I'd always wanted to, you know, join the military. I always wanted to. I had this, you know, belief that is, you know,
your calling,
to serve,
essentially.
and I recognized that a lot of other people, men and women, had made incredible sacrifices for my family, my parents, to work really hard to provide a good living for me. And I just remember being at work one day and just watching the news, and I just had like this feeling. I was like, wow, I'm sick and tired of like not doing this that I should have done.
Okay.
But I felt that I should have done years ago.
So you had like a want at some point, and it's just been burning ever since.
It's just been building up, and I basically said, like, I have to do this. It's pretty much now or never.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I remember having a conversation with you about that. It was pretty. You were just tunnel vision on it, which is awesome.
Pretty much. And I'm not saying I love what I do, being in law enforcement, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that kind of masked it because
it's a similar vein, I guess, but not the.
It's similar, but I think that I love the law enforcement field, but I feel like some of the biggest impacts I've had in law enforcement were going into schools in uniform.
Gotcha.
Or going to the children's hospital in uniform and you know, talking to these kids and showing a level of that I'm a human as well, not just some robot.
Right.
So I don't want to say that we don't do great things out on the road or working hard.
But but usually when you're interacting with somebody on the road, it's because they're messed up. They did something stupid, and you're you're pulling them over, telling them to stop doing
That's why
that.
I say everybody loves a firefighter, because
Right.
9 times out of 10, when some sort of law enforcement shows up on the scene, it's probably not a good reason.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, what I do wrong? I mean, I don't know what it is. I think we all have this little thing when we drive by a cop on the road or something, like shit, and my seatbelt on, all that kind of thing. It's a good thing, but I definitely can see that being frustrating, being in law enforcement and seeing people like tighten up around you and not be like relaxed, right? I actually never thought about that either.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Yeah.
And I think too, when you watch TV, sometimes you have this idea of like, you're always going to go after like a bad guy or whatever, and in a lot of ways that's not. There are units for that,
right?
And once in a while you do come across some of these people, but day in and day out, you literally are trying to serve people. So it's not, and it's a ton of paperwork too.
So you're like, is this really worth it going after this guy?
So like I said, in the end, I almost feel like doing some of these other, with NYPD or coming home to New Jersey was just masking kind of what I really did want to do.
Gotcha.
And eventually it just folded over. I was like, I just have to do it, or else for the rest of my life it's going to loom over me.
Which is, I think most people have something that they have that itch and they don't scratch it at all. And I think that just shows a lot of balls to just be like, I'm doing it. This is something I've been wanting to do. I'm going to go for it. If you guys are listening to this, if you have something you want to do, you should pull the trigger.
Basically,
yeah.
And the way I try to explain it to people is, even if you're like, let's say 30 or 32 years old and you don't have the degree or the job you want, and you're like, oh, for me to do that, it's going to take me 4 years.
Right.
I would tell you, well, you're going to be 34 someday. You might as well be 34 doing what you want to do.
Yep.
That's going to take so much money. Well, is that $60,000 to go back to, if you can afford it? Obviously, we're all in different situations,
sure.
But is $60,000 not worth you being happy? And the fact that, again, you're going to be 34, you're going to be 37, you're going to be 25 someday.
Hopefully.
So if you're going to be 25 someday, it might as well be 25 doing what you love or want to do, So.
Or at least testing it out, right? I mean, I think a lot of people do stuff and they just test the waters and, maybe it's not for me. But
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I think that's awesome.
I think some people will try and almost put people down for trying new things, and they'll say, why don't you just make up your mind already? And I would tell those people, no, keep doing different things. Keep living. Keep doing what you want to do, because that person that's telling you to make up their mind is jealous that because their mind is set that they'll never push themselves for something else, that they're trying to make you be in their
100%.
same company.
I mean, I feel like we all know people that you might grow up with and they're still doing the same shit. And you're like, how do you day in, day out continue doing the same thing? And sometimes it's just where they want to be too, and then they criticize you for bouncing around and doing different things, and I guess everybody's different that way.
I mean, I think there's a balance too. People say like, make up your mind, do this, but there's also a balance between, being happy and content. Now, I don't want to say settling. The words kind of might have some intertwining meaning.
Sure.
So, but like I said, experience, get out there, do what you want to do, but also recognize that there's like beauty right in front of you. Be present in the moment at the same time.
I think that's one of the hardest things to do, in my opinion.
So have a balance that you are going to be a certain age, you are going to be somewhere someday, but don't lose sight of the present moment. And that was something that I definitely got caught in, and not seeing the beauty right in front of me. And now I am a lot more
aware.
present.
Yeah.
So
Well, for how long I've known you, you definitely I've seen that come to fruition for sure. And it's cool to see just somebody just continue to grow and just expand their. It's almost like you were not tunnel vision, but your vision was a certain width. Now it's just so much wider. You can see it just in the way you look at things and the way you talk about things. So it's really cool to at least be able to see that from my perspective. And not saying you were narrow-minded at all, but
I appreciate
you're just
that,
so much more open now. Like
to be honest, you can say that I had my set of ways, and again, a lot of it is my doing to myself, but I grew up in a family structure where it was this, and this, and it's not my parents' fault. It's just that's how I didn't think outside the box. I was like, oh, this is what I was told. This is what I was told. This is what I was told.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, when I joined the NYPD, I was like, wow,
there's a lot more out there.
There's a lot out here. I saw people working 80+ hours a week that couldn't even survive. that were struggling to survive 80+ hours a week. I saw you go into, sometimes you know, even though I was in transit, you'll go into these housing complexes and whatnot, and you go in and you'll see a housing complex. It's not like an apartment in on the Jersey Shore. It's borderline like a 15 by 15 housing complex, room. Yeah. And I was like, wow. So that opened my mind to that. And then coming home to New Jersey, working in South Jersey, down in like Ocean County, some of those townships, you'll walk into some of these homes and it's literally a dirt floor. There's no like floor. It's a dirt floor. And I was just like, wow, like this is 60,
right here in my
70,
backyard.
80 miles from where I grew up. And these and then when I left for the military, that was a whole nother level of perspective because
you're down in Carolina. That's different down there too, right?
So originally down in Fort Benning, Georgia, and going through basic training.
Georgia, I'm sorry.
Yeah, going through basic training, and then airborne school, interacting with some of these people from all over the world, whether it's right here or overseas, all walks of life, all different perspectives. People coming from, you had people with doctorates, you had people with, fresh out of high school, you had people that left high school and, joined, then you had people with just a 4-year degree, people with careers, people with families, single people that maybe lost it all and this was their only way out. You had recovering addicts, in the end, for the most part, you just had everybody that loved this country and wanted to do something to give back. So that was it from all these walks of life.
Right, they all shared that one common thread.
Yeah, and then that was something that was very special. But leaving for the military was definitely an eye opener. Seeing,
Well, you were probably one of the older guys in like basic training, right?
Yeah, in basic training, I think there might have been like I was definitely top 5. Yeah. There were a few.
I mean, and I'm sure some of the recruits would talk shit to you being old, but you weren't even like really old at that point, right? Like,
I think being older had its pros, but I also it taught me how to become a better leader because some 17, 18-year-old kid, they have their own perspective. I'm not. They have their unique experience. I have mine. Yeah,
they're very narrow perspective because they haven't lived long enough, right?
But I can't. You can't just say, do this, and when they say why, well, because it's going to be, sometimes giving an answer and explaining is a good thing. Or, like I said, I remember when I was 17, I was definitely hard-headed again with that narrow mindset. So, when you say, hey, we got to do this, and if they don't want it, you have to find a way to inspire them to do it and say, hey, it's for the better cause. I don't want to do it either, but I'm out here, and we have to get this done, so let's just get it done together, and let's just kind of joke and smile along the way and make the best of it, because if we're going to be out here 10 hours or 20 hours, so we might as well make it 10, and we might as well just get done.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I've had some shit jobs over my life, and I always try to make them fun, just because it makes it, that much easier to deal with it. I mean, if you're doing shoveling shit, you can have a fun time shoveling shit. You don't necessarily have to be miserable doing it, right?
And to a point that you just brought up during class an hour ago, Viktor Frankl, obviously his perspective and all those men and women in that situation, just for him or all of them, but from his perspective, to just take 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And put a shovel down or whatever, and just look up at the sunset and just breathe, let that cold air come into his lungs, and then to watch the sunrise. I
would love to be able to think that I could do that in that scenario, but I think the only way you could do it is being put in that scenario, because it's easy to say, oh yeah, I'd be like that too, but I mean, that's just it's amazing what people are capable of doing.
It is, and I think what's even more amazing is that while we like to think we could do it, it's about doing it a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year later.
Oh yeah, totally. Like one day, no problem.
One day I could put a smile on my face, probably 2 or 3, but come day 20, day 60, then now it's like, then you see your true testament, which testament is like a person's will. So you see like what you're really made of at that point.
I think that directly correlates to like fitness. You think you get people who go hard for the first, what is it? It's February, right? They go hard for the first month and they're like, all right, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. This is too much. And you see people who are really stick it out and get fitter or whatever their goal may be, and they just stick it out and they are able to do it day in, day out, and it's just a part of their lives.
I think to that point, talking about the fitness somebody that has really inspired me and somebody that I love, reading her books and is Brene Brown.
Oh yeah, my wife loves her.
She is.
She had that thing on was it Netflix or she had YouTube TED Talk something.
Yep,
was
the
was
TED
really
Talk.
really good.
She
Yeah.
does podcasts with Temper. She is. She's incredible.
Yeah.
Her research, her perspective, but she also, whenever she talks or I read, I never feel like she's trying to impress me with like how hard she's worked or how much research she's done. She has this way of being like, hey, it's okay where you're at. It's okay to be vulnerable. Just know I'm here with you. And I'm like, wow, this is somebody that's like, and everybody has their own way. Like David Goggins is like, look in the mirror right now and tell yourself you're a pussy.
Right,
and,
right.
And that's great. It works for him, and it definitely worked for me at a certain point. But now where I'm at now, and that's like the beauty of like growing, is that my favorite, I know I'm bouncing around here a little, but my favorite book of all time is The Alchemist.
Yeah, it's a great book.
I've read it
Great
a few
book.
times, and I'll read it again soon. And every time I read it, a different part in the book hits me from where I'm at that point in my life.
Yeah.
So to get back to Brene Brown.
Hold on. All right. Good.
I just picked up a book, and hopefully I'll read it in like a day or two. A Gift of Imperfection, and basically, I can't really speak about it much, but I guess a overall summary synopsis of it. Have you read it?
No, but the title makes you kind of understand what it might be about, and then obviously opens up a different perspective to what that might mean. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, and I think the subtitle is like. Let go of who you think you should be and be who you are. And it's kind of like, so to tie this into the fitness, again, I haven't read the book, but I think some people care about what, some people definitely care about what other people, if you want to do something that's sustainable in the fitness world,
Right.
like doing this extreme thing is not sustainable. Like, like you've been doing, just come, if you can, come every day for a half hour. That's sustainable. But trying to gorge yourself eating every day and then work out 4 hours every day and then do yoga and try and be
It's just
present.
unrealistic.
It's not unrealistic.
Yeah.
It's easier to live a moderate lifestyle. If you want to have a Snickers bar, you want to have ice cream, go ahead. Just do it in moderation.
Right.
Don't try and do it every day, but also, put your best foot forward to reduce that and also be active. But don't do something. Don't be a vegan or whatever because you think that's like the healthy thing to do. Being healthy is being healthy. Like, you don't have to be vegan. You could still be healthy and not be vegan.
Well, that's the thing.
And you could be vegan and be unhealthy.
That's the thing I really admire about you, because you definitely try shit, and I'm the same way with the stuff. I like to try things and then be like, that worked well, or that lifestyle is not for me, or or whatever. But I think you've tried a bunch of different things that most people would be like, holy shit, that sounds impossible or whatever. Like, but it's like, I'm going to give it a shot. So I at least have firsthand knowledge on what it feels like and what it's like. And is it beneficial for me to throw this in the mix every once in a while?
Sure. I think that, like, as Brene Brown says, a lot of times we will do things because we're almost afraid of failing, and we're afraid of being shamed. We're afraid of what people think of us. So we're not actually doing them because we want to do them. We're doing them to either impress somebody else or to be accepted. So if you want to only eat meat and cheese all day, I'm sure there's plenty of people that are like healthy. They work out. They say, hey, I have great energy. Give it a try. But don't eat broccoli, rice, and boiled chicken every day because you think that's what's going to get you healthy, because you're going to be so miserable that in the end you're not going to be healthy. It's just not sustainable. Do something sustainable.
Yes, agree.
I know Kristen has said this, and I'm a big proponent of it. I know you said it. The perfect diet is the one that works for you. There is no do this, but like you said, try something. Do this Mediterranean, whatever that means to you, for 2 or 3 months. Do vegan, do vegetarian. Eat only meat, do a moderation, try it all.
Right.
And then see what works best for you. And then, even though it works best for you then, if you go do it 5 years, maybe 5 years from now, your body's in a different place. It doesn't work for you then. But
it's funny because it's simple. It's not, we make it out like it has to be some super formula, and unfortunately the industry and the gurus, have all these different things that this is the only way, and they get people just following them like lemmings, instead of just getting some advice, a little bit of guidance, and then just going down the path on your own, because you don't really need you don't need anybody to show you the way, because the way is different for everybody, you know. We talked about, you know, just being in the moment as far as fitness and, you know, being moderate. It's like, I've listened to a lot of Alan Watts. You listen to him lately? No, you love him, so you need to listen to some of his videos. But he's a philosopher, has very very Eastern oriented. He talks about, you know, the Tao of this, and then, you know, the actual Tao is the way, right? That's pretty much what it means. But one thing I watched a video where it's not watching a video, it's just listening to him talk, because he used to do like he's not alive anymore. He would do like speeches, but the Wu Wei I said earlier, right? Did you hear me say that?
Yeah.
Wu Wei is like, don't force, like don't force it. Like the thing is, we try to like square peg into a round hole, like just pound it in there. And it's like there's a way to kind of meander your way through life and make it enjoyable, you know. But if you're speedboating down this river that has a meander to it, and you're gonna hit the freaking shore and stop. It's you know, and it's just interesting.
So basically, just be more liquid. Just be
just flow.
As
Bruce Lee
said, just go be like water. You know,
just flow, man. Let it ride. And it's you know, it's tough to do that sometimes when you want to just put your head down and go.
Where do you think that falls on us though? Because there's a lot of incredible people here that have great experiences, and maybe do you think that we're afraid to ask other people for help sometime, or open up to people? Like there are people here with great experiences, like, you know, obviously we all know we all have our own unique experience, but sometimes I feel like people almost, they see somebody, they charge $100 an hour for fitness, and like, oh my God, this person must be good at being a dietitian or a nutritionist, because they charge $250 an hour and they guarantee 30 pounds. But again, like if they're guaranteeing you to have 30 pounds off and you're eating plain oatmeal and boiled chicken 3 times a day, I guarantee you I can get you there too. That doesn't mean that that's sustainable. You're going to be happy.
That's the thing. It's sales at that point. I mean, you have to buy into what you're doing no matter what, right? So if you come in here brand new and you're like, I want to lose weight, I want to get in shape, and I'm like, well, you know, I think we can help you out. And you're like, you're not really sold on what you're doing. They're not really sold on what you're doing. Therefore, you can't command what it's worth. I think everybody needs a different approach. Dietary stuff, I think whenever I try to help people out with their nutrition, it's like, what are you eating now? I got to see where you're starting from. And it's, let's just move a couple of these things this way and that way and do this for a while and see how it works.
How many people like come into here and will you ask like, oh, what are your goals? Like, I just want to have fun. I just want to be a part of a great community. Very few. So a lot of people don't say like, I just want to be a part of a great community.
But I feel like it morphs into that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it more. That's what makes people come more. But when people are like, I have to do this, I have to do that, and in the unfortunate event, they miss 3 or 4 days.
Right. They're just, I'm out.
And this is a program. You know, it's a great program, but unfortunately, if you can't make it one day, and you're unable to make it to open gym, then it might not be fun anymore for some people.
Yeah. I think the mindset, and again, how you look at things when you're coming in here, like, you know, are you here to train today? Are you here to practice today? Are you here to compete today? Like having a different mindset in what you're doing. And it could just be, I want to go have a good time and bullshit with my friends. That's fine, because we have a lot of people who do that. And I frankly would rather have people do that, because they get fit by accident. They're like my favorite one is Katinka, just because her reactions to shit is like, oh my God, her eyes like bug out of her head, which we'll have her on here too, because she's got a very unique perspective. But she's not striving for anything. She just wants to keep in shape, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm doing a pull-up, or boom, I'm doing a rope climb, and she's like, her mind exploded. Like it's stuff like that. It's I think everybody's different too, man. There's not a right way for everybody. You know, I don't know. It's definitely.
I was just curious how many people actually come in here like, oh, I definitely want to get stronger. I definitely want to lose 30 pounds.
Initially,
compared to how many people are like, I just want to be a part of a fun community.
I think initially 100% come in for that reason. They come in for lose weight, get in shape, whatever that particular goal is, and then that percentage drops off to, I just want to keep working out because it's a good time and the people are great.
Yeah.
You know, so. Be cool to be able to advertise and be a little more like, hey, come in and have a good time working out. I don't know if it doesn't really get people off the couch though. Maybe it does, unless their lives are boring, but there's so many things, phones and TVs and like
distractions.
Yeah, there's plenty of things to be like, I don't want to get off the couch. This fucking TV is amazing. You know, like, why would I go have fun with people I don't know? It doesn't make sense. So I think goals are important. You have to have something you're striving for, but that takes us out of the present, right? You're talking about how important it is to be in the moment, and it's so hard for us all to do. But it feels so good when you do it. Mm-hmm. So we were in New York last weekend, and I took a longer walk in Central Park and was taking pictures and shit and just trying to absorb, like, you know, buildings and that kind of stuff, and it felt really good. And I kind of lost track of time, and I can't tell you the last time I've done that.
Yeah.
And it was just by myself, walking around, looking at animals and ducks and hawks and whatever the fuck else was out there, and just lost track of time. You know, and that does not happen to me. And so, like, of course, it's funny you say that being present is like, it's been more on my mind to be in the moment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which is cool about doing a podcast with people, because you can really talk to somebody and connect, and I have to be there. All the distractions that were around now are gone, luckily. So there's no little music in the background. There's no heat going on. There's nobody coming in. So it's easier to be, you know, right here, right now. So it's an important thing for humans, I think.
And that was one of the biggest things that I was fortunate to take away amongst many from my time in the military, being able to, you know, go to Fort Benning in Georgia, then airborne school, then up to Fort Bragg in North Carolina.
That's where North
train.
Carolina. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
and train. I was gone for total time a little over a year and a half. And what seemed so crazy is that my whole time gone, I was so present in the moment, enjoying what I was doing.
Gotcha.
Didn't have a care in the world other than just focusing on our task at hand for the day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
And for a large part, it was training, PT. And
so it wasn't like you're missing home. It wasn't like you're focused on, when am I going to get done with this shit?
Sure. And so, not to play semantics, you're always going to miss people you love and care for. Yeah. But I didn't. Right. Obviously, I took a step away from my career for a little bit, and I wasn't worried about coming back to work. I wasn't worried about making more money. I wasn't worried about anything. I was just like, you know, wow, this is incredible.
It's very stoic.
And I think one of the most beautiful things is that you know, every day we would, you know, you're PTing before the sunrise, typical military, you know, up before the enemy, that whole mentality. And much like Viktor Frankl, you're doing some of these runs, and, you know, 45 minutes, an hour into your run or ruck or whatever, you know, sun starts to rise. Yeah. And it's like, wow, like no amount of caffeine or music or anything. It's like, wow, you know, we're all doing this together. Sun's rising. We're doing this for something else. There are people no longer here with us because they did it before us and unfortunately lost it. It was extremely unique.
It's that group energy, and then just knowing what led to that. Mm-hmm. Like you're saying, all the people before that, that's pretty powerful, man. It's cool. That's a great perspective, I think. Did you think a lot of the guys you were with got that same perspective?
Absolutely. Definitely North Carolina as well. Definitely. Cool. Absolutely North Carolina. I'd have to say almost every day, almost 100%, we lived for coming together, you know, definitely Monday through Friday at the end of hard training sessions and watching the sunset, you know, just, you know, being around a fire, you know, maybe somebody, you know, playing some sort of acoustic guitar and whatnot, and just that interaction. And we appreciated the sunset. It wasn't like, let me be on my phone. We're always in a rush to, like, especially here in New Jersey, we're in a rush to get absolutely nowhere. We're in a rush to get absolutely
to a red
nowhere.
Light, right?
Let me rush to get home to sit on my couch and be on my phone. Let me rush to get home to not be present in the moment with my family. Let me rush. And I'm guilty of that. So I'm saying this helped me. It's what I needed, amongst other reasons why, you know, I did it. But it just so happened, and that was an indirect result I got from doing this, was that, wow, I had neglected being present in the moment so much, where it felt so incredible on a Monday, knowing that we still had 4 or 5 more days of hard training to just be with the guys and girls around the fire, watching the sunset, just BSing and just, you know, just talking.
Yeah. So maybe that was what, it wasn't necessarily being in the military, and you needed that experience to further your life elsewhere. You know what I mean? Let's see, you had that itch to do that for a long time, and maybe that was what you needed to scratch that particular. You know?
And I totally agree. I'm actually do say that often, that I'm not sure if me joining the military, my purpose was to actually,
Right.
if I'm called upon,
Sure.
I'll go do what everybody else does
Right.
when they raise their right hand. I have not been yet, but who knows if that's what my purpose was.
Right.
Was that my purpose, or was it to grow and have this perspective and now maybe go to all these schools and talk to these kids and maybe try and help out here
or do something like this,
overseas.
and people again get a little more knowledge from you, and just wow, I didn't think of it that way. Like that's really what the point of all this stuff is, right?
Steve Jobs once said, I'm gonna botch it, I apologize, but it's along the lines of you can't connect the dots moving forward. You can only connect them looking back. So a lot of times we might have these grandiose plans that this is what I'm gonna do, this is what's gonna happen, and once there's a little bit of imperfection, it's no longer what we want to do, or we get discouraged. It's kind of like relationships with people. Nobody's perfect, and if you recognize that, that's what makes us all perfect, honestly.
Sure. The imperfection, isn't even the book.
The gift of imperfection.
Yeah, there you go. So that makes tons of sense.
When you're in a relationship with somebody, we are like, oh my God, this person's perfect. And then the first time they do something that is not your vision, you're like, oh, how can I get out of this relationship? But that's the whole point of a relationship, is assuming other people's imperfections, assuming other people's vulnerabilities, assuming other people's scars. And that's what makes it a beautiful thing. A perfect relationship is your ability to love, to forgive, to assume all these responsibilities.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it's just like with any journey, fitness, you're going to, be sore, don't get discouraged, because, if you've been, inactive for 5 years, it's going to be brutal for several months.
We all want that linear path that just, all right, I'm going to lose 1 pound a week or whatever. And it's just, and you try and tell people it's never going to be that way, and celebrate the imperfection of it. Got my ass kicked today. I didn't work out very hard today. I didn't do shit today. Like that's all. It's not, a perfect plan for anything. So what's give us some fitness for you throughout your life. How was that? How did it start? How did it change? Like, give us the cliff notes if you want, unless you want to go into that's important to you. But I want to make sure we're talking about things that are important for you. I think fitness obviously is important for you.
I think it's a good time to take a break real quick so I can.
Yeah, do you think?
Yeah.
I'll pause the thing. And we're back. We get rambling a little bit, but so just got a text message from somebody saying he lost like 15 pounds and they're really happy. And
that consistency that you always talk about. Yeah,
I mean, she's coming in all the time, eating, well most of the time, and living her fucking life. You know what I mean? I think we get too. There's no finish line. The finish line's death. In my perspective right now, obviously I've changed over the years and more, but being mature, like they always say, like you gotta be more mature. I feel like when you're mature is when you're in the fucking box. You're constantly maturing. You should be changing your thought process, your viewpoints, your fitness, or whatever the fuck it is, right? I mean, that's again my perspective. I don't know if that's the right one, but it's mine. Fuck you.
I think that finish line is a good one. I know you've heard me say this. My big one is top of the mountain.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because that's definitely we talked about that. Why don't you go into that a little bit? I think that's important.
Basically, a quote I have read, and it went along the lines of Forbes magazine interviewed a Fortune 500 CEO, and they asked him, if you can go back and tell your younger self any one thing, what would it be? And without hesitation, their answer was, enjoy the journey, because when you get to the top of the mountain, there's absolutely nothing there. So there is no end.
Yeah.
Or David Goggins says, there's no finish line. Just next day here, next day I'm here,
right.
Next day I'm here, as you say, the finish line. So whatever works for you, enjoy it, because at some point, like we said earlier, I want to do this, but it's going to take me at some point you're going to be 34, so enjoy that struggle, enjoy the time with your family and friends. Have a plan to be somewhere, because you hope to continue to live and live a great life, but be present every day, because at some point when you get to your finish line, when you get to your top of the mountain, whatever it is for your perspective, you're going to look back and say, I wish I could do it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was at Fort Bragg for 13 months training, and I look back, I'm like, wow, incredible. You know, not that
By the way,
I love
that is
being there.
Dan's go-to word, incredible. It's very. So when you think incredible, think of Dan here, definitely. It's a good word.
So you know, have a goal, have this, but you know, be surrounded by great people, and don't be afraid to love, fail, hurt, whatever. Be present in the moment. You know, enjoy the journey, enjoy that climb, enjoy the marathon. Don't worry about the finish line. Don't worry about the top. Don't worry about the end prize, the goal. Because once you're there, you're inevitably, as humans, we won't be satisfied, most likely, in some perspective, and we're just going to move on to the next one.
Well, I think when you said something to me about that quote years ago, before you were going into the military, I think you were talking to me about it, and you told me about that quote. What I instantly thought about was, if you're on top of a mountain, you just get to see all the other mountains that there's tops of. Mm-hmm. You know, like you can't see tops of mountains from other vantage points below that, and then you get to the top of the mountain, you're like, fuck, there's a whole shitload of mountains that I can conquer, and you just it broadens your perspective to climb more, keep climbing, right? Mm-hmm. So that was what I thought of when you said that to me. That was the first thing, the visual that came to my mind.
And that's why I love, you know, maybe going out to a bar and grabbing a drink and talking to people and not just being on my phone the whole time, because that's a unique perspective that I never even thought of. The way I thought of it is, wow, you know, I'm never going to be present. I'm always going to be searching for something. When, again, me leaving for the military, found out that everything I was searching for, kind of like the alchemist, everything I ever wanted in life was here the whole time. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that hearing your perspective on that is great, because I didn't think of it like that. Saying like, all right, so this is this mountain. Now, well, there may be one higher, but you know what? There's also these other ones that I could do and still.
There's a
be
lot
with
more.
loved
Yeah,
ones,
there's tons more challenging things that are out there. You think about any of those extreme sport athletes or whatever. There's these impossible. So like the 2-hour marathon recently was broken, right? Mm-hmm. They thought that'd be an impossible thing to achieve. The guy did it. There's somebody else who's going to beat that. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of, you know, the 4-minute mile, all these different milestones in human achievement is the mountaintop for that particular time and place. But there's other mountaintops that are similar to that, and some that aren't. But I think there's mountains move. They don't move fast, but they move. Tectonic plates, man. It's science.
It's true. It's true.
All right, so back to the fitness stuff. How'd you get into fitness? What was your indoctrination to?
So basically it was kind of like, you know, growing up, you're going to do something. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I guess, I don't know how tons of people start here, but I started with soccer and then, you know, karate and then baseball. And it's just like, you're going to do as much as you can, be active, meet as many, you know, so you're going to socialize, you're going to get out there and do stuff. And that was my parents just being great parents.
Sure.
And
active kids are the ones who do better.
Sure.
That's science too.
But then eventually, like along the way somewhere, I actually did have like a bit of I guess like a image problem where like it wasn't like enough. So like working out wasn't enough, and I had to like work out more to obtain what I felt was the perfect image for myself. And you know, that actually led to like I would do, you know, now we call them water fasts. Now we call it intermittent fasting. Back in the day, I basically told people, I need to lose weight. I'm just going to starve myself. And this was in high school because I was doing what I felt I needed to have like this perfect body, this perfect image. So it's almost like working out became detrimental to me because I wasn't taking care of myself as I should have.
But you were learning.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
the best way to learn is by doing. So you were learning for sure.
But now I could say through all that, now it's more about it really is like a second family to come here, and you know that's definitely one of the things I take away is like a home away from home, somewhere I can come here and hang out and not feel the least bit ashamed, because there are a lot of incredible people here. Not feel the least bit ashamed to come here for an hour class, and then if I hang out for a half hour after, they're good people. I shouldn't feel I need to get home.
Right.
I'm a loser for hanging out at the gym. Like, no, these are great people here.
Yeah,
and
that's what we
what
want.
am I supposed to do with my time? Go home by myself and sit on my couch?
I always wondered that some people, like they do cut out quick and like run in and get home, and you're like, maybe you got something to do, but bullshit for a little while. That's always fun.
Yeah, and so like I said, in that, whatever that self-image I had of myself came like a great family, a second way of life, and so now like I come here now and I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Amongst other things that we spoke about earlier, doing like the compound effect. It's much easier to do a little bit every day. I think you and Kristen have said this, like when you try and do something every day, getting the big workout becomes less important. Doing that 1 or 2 or 3 hour workout becomes less important because, hey, I'll just do a little half-hour workout, do a 20-minute workout, do a 40-minute workout tomorrow. And if I eliminate, 1 bowl of cereal, 1 bowl of ice cream, 1 Snickers bar, if I don't go back for a second helping and I park my car as far as possible, that can amount out to like 500, 600, 700 calories a day. A pound is 3,000 calories. So you're talking a difference of, it's easier to be sustainable than being extremist.
What other benefits do you get from the frequency of what you, as far as you're working out and training and doing stuff? You definitely have like a trajectory essentially, so I could see myself progressing, getting better, especially because you provide a great program, and by coming, you're able to come on days when you do have to squat, do your overhead press, when you do WODs that are great accessory work for that. So outside of actually progressing physically, for me personally, it is a good challenge mentally to get out and talk to people. It's a stress reliever. Okay. Mark recommended a book to me, Atomic Habits, and oh yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but Mark was explaining.
I think I recommended that to him, so. I don't know. I remember.
he was explaining it to me, and I guess sometimes we have our thing, our addiction and whatnot, and after a long day at work, as Mark was explaining to me, we come home. I can't wait to have this, whether it's a beer or whether it's a bowl of ice cream, whatever. But if you redirect your thinking and you say this, I can't wait to come home and see my dog. I can't wait to come home and see my family. I can't wait to come home and go to the gym. If you change your way of thinking, actually change a lot more than just, your physical aspects. So coming here consistently helps me physically, but it also helps me mentally because, working a 12-hour shift.
The last thing you want to do is go to the gym.
Many days it is. Many days I just want to go home, sit on the couch with Stella and just chill with her. But I'm just like, you know what? Let me go. And I can almost say 100% of the time, I can't think of the last time I came to the gym. I was like, fuck, I feel worse after coming here after work.
I don't think there's very many people who have that. I mean, I've had sessions where I'm like not happy after the workout, but I'm still happy I got it done.
I'm still happy you did something.
You know what I mean? So it's like, God, that sucked, and I wasn't miserable doing it. My attitude sucked during it, but I'm still happy I did it. I don't think there's ever a regret of actually doing something. That's interesting. I don't think about it like that either. It's just like, I'm just happy I did something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we give that enough weight. It's like we aren't giving ourselves enough credit. I wrote a little something about that yesterday, I think. Just about being, like I said, you said it before, that, again, back to Bruce Lee, be happy but not content, essentially, right? Like, or his quote's not exactly that, but it's the same thing. It's like, be happy with where you're at because you deserve to be there, but just not content with where you're at. You want to keep moving forward, but keep doing something.
Just recognize that if you do want to achieve more, you are capable of it. But if you love where you're at, that's great. Embrace that as well.
Right.
Your life is your life. You don't have to do this because this person doesn't. You have to do that because that person does it. Do it because you genuinely want to do it.
That's the thing with social media. You get the highlight reel from everybody, which is it's nice, but it can if you let it, can make you feel a certain way, right?
Absolutely.
And then, like, so when you had your image issues, you probably were looking at like bodybuilder magazines and like Men's Health and shit like that, and you're like, that's what the ideal, that's the mountaintop for me at that point in time, and then it leads you to make bad decisions, and all been there, 100%.
I mean, even I, have social media, and even I took a break for several months because I was like, I just need to take a step back and work on myself, and because again, I allowed myself to get in that position where I would just finger fuck my phone, and as opposed to as opposed to reading more, as opposed to listening to podcasts. It was so easy for me to pick up my phone and just as opposed to like pick up a book and turn the pages. So I had to take several months away.
It's so easy to waste just countless amount of time doing that, you know. And you look back like, shit, that was an hour. Like, God, what am I doing?
I'm exhausted, but let me lay in bed. I have this energy with the screen.
That's what's nuts too. You can sit there and scroll through Facebook and Instagram in your bed while you last night I passed out. We started watching that movie, Ford versus Ferrari. I rented that on Amazon.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
I got through about 10 minutes out like a light in the chair. So I didn't get my phone. But if I would have grabbed my phone and started swiping it, I would have been like wide awake again.
Vitalized.
You know?
Like, hell yeah.
But it's like such a I don't know. It isn't a good look. Don't do that. All right. So fitness wise in high school, you started lifting weights, exercising, like doing, or was that with sports?
Not really. I was basketball and track, so
okay.
I didn't.
So you were always active.
Yeah, active, but more sports. On I guess like the plyometric cardio.
Gotcha.
I didn't start lifting until I basically left high school.
All right, so let me get this straight. You walked on to Maryland. You played high school football?
I was on the team senior year, and unfortunately I did quit like a couple games in.
And then how do you walk on and play football in Maryland if you played half a season in high school football? Explain that to me, because I played football for a long time. It's hard to.
I was just like
gifted.
Decent athlete.
Okay.
I had taken some time off high school, so I didn't go to University of Maryland directly from high school.
Okay.
So I basically had started lifting.
So did you bulk up after?
That's when I started lifting weights and whatnot, and I did. I definitely got stronger in that point, and I had the athleticism from track and field.
Okay, that makes sense.
And basketball and whatnot, so that was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it was just right place, right time. I walked on with, I think it was like 9 other.
Why
kids.
Maryland?
So basically, I applied to a few schools, and I just it was close enough to like, I guess, kind of like be still in close proximity to home as compared to like West Virginia University and whatnot.
Not like too close, not like Rutgers.
Yeah,
it's like
and
just too easy. Yeah.
But still far enough where I felt like I was away.
Okay.
And I had inquired prior to going there, like, hey, you know, is there any opportunity to do this or that? And they actually said, yeah, we have like walk-on tryouts. And so I was like, all right, I'll give this a try. Just kind of wanted to do something different.
How was that? What was that like?
It actually wasn't anything
out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it was, you know, your 40-time shuttle work, bench press, vertical leap.
So it's kind of like a combine for you guys.
Yeah.
They didn't have you guys go live like in like.
I don't believe we did. Maybe some minor stuff, but I know when we did go out in the field, it was raining, so we weren't out there long. Okay. Not because they didn't want us out there, probably because they didn't want us.
Okay, that's cool. So in college, you played for a little bit there on the practice squad, you said, and then so fitness was more based upon workouts that a football player might do.
Yeah,
power cleans
at that point in time.
Powerlifting style movements.
Yeah, sure. Not you know, we did do a lot of power cleans and snatches.
They were amazing power cleans and snatches, weren't they?
Yeah, we
listen. There's no hate on the college training coach. They have to train a lot of athletes, so it's easy. It's easy to let bad form go to waste.
And I think not that much to that point, and I think there are a lot of different philosophies in training football athletes, and obviously Louis Simmons has not. This is not what he says verbatim. He's not against some of the Olympic movements. His mentality is just risk reward of what you're going to get out of it and how it translates over to your sport. So if that's what you want to do, that's great. But you know, he feels like more.
Yeah, like the snatch being good in a full snatch is not going to be necessary for playing football. Cleans are a really good way of
mimic a tackling and whatnot. Some of those, yeah.
But not jumping too. I think not leaving. I try to explain to people like. Not leaving the ground with lots of weight is better for your joints. There's no impact, right? There's no real impact in a clean if you do it right. That is. But yeah, I would agree with that. I think Louis Sims is smart, but he sucks you in, man. He's like a vortex. We did a seminar, and he is just so easy to listen to.
Yeah.
He just it's amazing talking, not talking to him talking to you, but just a wealth of knowledge for sure.
It's incredible. Like you said, you can kind of like, listening to him it's like poetic because of how smart he is, his experience, the amount of people he's trained. He's got a story for every situation.
Exactly. His smarts and where he comes from is just all trial and error. I mean, it's just in the trenches. He's got, like you said, a story for everything. It's cool to listen to people like that because they've been there, done that. Not who was somebody saying something about this doctor who's a psychologist at a local hospital here and was saying something about their kid not sleeping well, and they're like a young psychologist, and oh yeah, just like bring to me, and I'll prescribe him some kind of medication, and he was all like proud of the book knowledge he had read, but not really applied it to the real world, and it's like, okay. So why do you train?
At this point, I definitely train because I just enjoy it, and because I enjoy it, because I love coming here and another gym. Through that, I am getting better in more ways than one. Not only obviously the physical, but it is a de-stressor, whether it's just work or life or whatever. And but then also, like I said, that social interaction impact is important. It's nice to get away, kind of, everybody puts their phones in the cubbies and you kind of like talk, and you always like, hey, how was your day today? Or who can tell a story about this? Or, whatever, somebody say something unique today, somebody say something that impacted you, and you hear people, and then now you hear these things, or you see
like
people
that
here. Obviously recently we've had a lot of, maybe not a lot, but
it seems like
several women
that
are
I knew where you're
pregnant,
going with that.
and I'm just like, I'm working out, and I'm like, I think to myself, like, Danny, just, smile right now because, you're not holding, this extra weight like she is, and she's busting her ass, and, whether it's, they're doing their own workout, but they're doing their own workout at 100%. There's no workout that's better or worse. It's just where you're at. And in many ways, a lot of times I look at some of the modifications that you're able to give some of the people that come here that are pregnant, and I'm just like, thank God I'm doing this workout and not that modification, because I would much rather be doing this than a minute wall sit right now. I'd much rather be doing this than 1,000 meters on the rower right now, because that just seems like it sucks. So I look at that, and that's an awesome thing. It puts more in perspective for you, for me at least, seeing that and seeing their consistency. It's like they're here like 5-6 days a week, and they're still working. And if they have, thankfully, given birth, they're here like a week or two after. I'm just like, wow. It's like, no.
They're not supposed to be here that soon, but they tend to be. They tend to come back in a quick. No, we don't recommend that.
Well, maybe a month or two, but
it's just 6 weeks. Well, it's all doctor recommendation, but I mean, it's that shit's cool to me too. I definitely appreciate that, because it's like the old person who can barely move, still working out and getting after it. It's like they're more impressive to me than a guy like you who's really fit, doing everything the way it should be done, because they're just doing what they can do, and they're busting their ass too. And it's just like, and I know you look at them like, fuck, I gotta get my shit together.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta move better. This is terrible. Like I'm sitting there making a stink face, and this lady's got a 7-month-old freaking kid inside of her.
Yeah, at one point I was wearing the pink Converse here fairly regularly.
Oh yeah, what happened to those? They haven't been around in a while.
I still have them.
All right, good. Make sure you get them.
But when I would use them, I did Murph in them once, and the shoes are a little small for my feet. But as a
and Murph has a lot of running in it. It's not fun to run in Converse either, so that's impressive.
But they're pink for a reason, for more reasons than one. These I have are actually decently unique because pink to raise awareness for the breast cancer. So I'd wear them, and I would look at them. I'd be like, whatever I'm going through right now in this workout is absolutely nothing compared to somebody else. So like, whether I'm dripping sweat and like trying to take a breather, looking down at my feet, I'm like, all right, perspective, just smile real quick, keep moving. But at the same time, there's a red line on the bottom of the sneakers, and they're a limited edition. I didn't know this when I bought them. They're a limited edition from Converse.
And they're worth a lot of money, but you ruined them.
They're priceless to me. But Converse is based out of Massachusetts, and they made these unique ones. I forget how many they made, but it's for the Boston Marathon.
Oh.
And the red line is, kind of like another symbol to me, like finish.
Mm.
And you look at that story and how many people that did survive, but possibly had some form of amputation, came back a year later and crossed the finish line. And so I have these pink Converses with a red line on the bottom.
That's cool. That's really interesting.
I'm just like, wow, like this kind of like sucks right now, but I chose to be here. Working out is a privilege, and just finish.
Some good
it's
symbolism.
Not that bad.
Some nice symbolism to find things that kind of get your mind back to where you want it to be. Obviously, you don't want to be in that little bitch mode that we all have, where it's just like, oh, I can't do this. This hurts. And in that little voice in your head, just like trying to get you to stop doing what you're doing. It's nice to have something like those shoes that you look down at and like, oh yeah, that's right. Or I like that stuff. Or interact with people.
Or interacting with people. And somebody just said, and somebody tells you they come here and they kind of like, I had a really rough morning. You're like, all right, I had a good morning compared to them. This is where I'm at today. This is where they're at today. And that's what that aspect is.
Perspective, man. Yeah. Perspective is super important. It's so easy to get caught in your own perspective, But when you step back and look at
it's easy to fall to a victim a lot of times. Like, but just realize that it's okay to have a down moment, but don't fall victim too long, because there, like you said, perspective. There's easily numerous other people not only in your position, but legitimately, possibly significantly worse in their own way.
100%.
Whatever is significant to you is significant, but there are other real deal situations as well. So
I think that's it's good to acknowledge what is ailing you, but not lament it with it on it. I think that's what it's easy to start going down that rabbit hole and just like, this sucks, that sucks, this sucks, and instead just be like, that really sucked. On to the next thing. Like, let's move on and forget about that, because you can't get it back anyways. Who gives a shit? I like it. A couple other little simple questions for you. I don't want to keep you all day here. I'm sure we could talk about this stuff all day. How has fitness improved your life?
Like I said, now
I want a specific scenario, something that you could think of. It doesn't have to be anything special, just something that pops in your head. Like, what has fitness done for you as far as that goes?
A second home, like a way of life.
Okay.
Definitely, it's extremely important to me. I truly do love it. And then when you say like another home, another outlet, obviously we've spoken about these things over the past half hour, what that meant to me. But specifically, it would just be like another family. And again, to me, that's at least definitely where I'm at now. I wasn't here 10 years ago, but where I'm at now, that's what's most important, are the people. Nobody is, in my opinion, nobody's, and I'm not the first to say this, I believe the first person I heard say it was Les Brown, so I want to give him credit for it. But, very few people in life are self-made. So I'm where I'm at today by interacting with people like Esme, like Mark. That's
Nicole for some of you who don't know, one of our coaches.
Like Mark, like you, and there's, so many interactions, and now that's what it really is about. It's about that, another family. So I'm fortunate to have incredible friends.
Cool.
But they have their own lives. I'm fortunate to have an incredible family, but they work and they have their own lives. And now I have another family. A lot of people, unfortunately, can't say that. A lot of people don't have that outlet. Some people may feel trapped. I'm fortunate to say, like, wow, I have great friends, I have great family, I have this incredible community here. I'm fortunate to have a career that I love, and I have some great coworkers. So I'm surrounded by great people. So fitness for me is just another community of incredible people with like-minded goals that support me through good times and the bad times. And it's good to know that I can come here for that outlet, and if I need to talk to somebody, like, hey, you want to go grab a cup of coffee real quick? I just need to talk. Hey, you want to grab a beer or two real quick? I just need to talk, whatever. And undoubtedly, I could, as long as they don't have something going on, I could pretty much go like, hey, I need to vent real quick, and they'll be like, yep, let's go.
Yeah, I think the moral of that story is surround yourself with good people, but I think that you're 100% accurate. I think anybody here would be like, yeah, sure, no problem, like whatever you need. You know, people are very helpful as far as that goes, and you know they care about others, which is not a very it's not something you see very often nowadays. It feels like there's not a lot of people no one gives a shit about anybody. It seems like, but I was thinking about before you were talking about you know, being in the military, and the thing you missed was the camaraderie and being with people. This is kind of like that too, right?
Absolutely.
You get the same. How much do you think hard workouts influence that deeper bond?
Definitely, because again, it's you're all going through the
You're
same
all in
workout.
the shit together, right?
Yeah, you're all going through the same workout. And then one of the things about you is when I first started at 732, I'd walk in there. I forget the exact quote you used or whatever, but I walked in there. It was in the winter because I started in January, so it's been like I think it's been over 6 years now. 6 years and 1 month, and wow, it was freezing in there, and you were just like, put your mittens on, we're lifting. I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, holy crap, there's no heater in here. This is the type of gym I'm signing up to, and
that sounds about right.
Get the oven mitts. Let's go.
Oh my god.
So yeah, you know, but no, definitely the camaraderie doing the workouts, and you know, whether it's a 35-minute AMRAP like today, or 3 rounds for time that should possibly only take under 5 or 6 minutes. You know, it's just like, wow, we're all doing this, we're all having fun, we're all in our own position. And so being here now over 6 years, and obviously going my own, the most direct path to any way is a straight line. We all know that,
right.
You know, but
let's see you draw a straight line on a piece of paper.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like almost impossible.
I look, a couple new people have signed up here, and I look at them and I'm like, wow, 6 years ago, that was me.
Yeah.
Rob struggled for years. Mark struggled, and even, you know, still something I'm not efficient at all are ring muscle ups.
Right.
But that's where I'm at in my journey. So I remember when I first got a double under, you know, like the first open I did, and even the second open I couldn't do a double under. I remember Max saying, like, you've been here over a year, you can't do double unders, you suck. You shouldn't even be here anymore. I was like, wow.
Of course he was joking, but and his voice is way deeper than that.
No, but all jokes aside, it's again talking about perspective. It's like, wow, like this was my journey, and I'm still learning. I'm still progressing. I mean, I'm even been struggling with deadlifting that you've been helping me with. Even my squat, I've been here 6 years, and you know, I'm still working on this, working on that. But it's awesome seeing some people come in here, and I'm like, wow, it's awesome. You know, if they keep with it, and if this is what they want, just like all of us that started at some point, like, you know, I just tell people, like, you're gonna get there. Yeah,
I think that's accurate. I think your time on, I mean, obviously not just here, because that'd be a little way short-sighted, but just, you know, how long you've been actively doing something that is in the fitness purview. You know what I mean? That's a long time, and people need to understand that perspective, because people come in there like, I haven't done shit ever. What the fuck makes you think you're going to compete, or you're going to have the same kind of whatever that the person next to you has? Like, just go through your own shit. That reminded me of, you know, you're talking about being not perfect at anything, right? There's a Vince Lombardi quote. It's like, we're going to chase perfection only to catch excellence. I really like that, because you're never going to have the perfect deadlift, the perfect squat, whatever. It's always going to be a little bit off somewhere, somehow, and some days it'll feel damn near perfect. Yeah, I'm obviously not going to be able to pick apart something that crazy, but you know, it can always be a little bit better. So I think that's striving for that excellence is a great way of continuing enjoying what you're doing. You know, good enough's not good enough. Well, that's all I think I have. We had a good long convo here, so I'll be putting this up on all the mediums that I can, and hope people that don't know you here and get to know you a little better, and people who may not be here and will know you before they come in.
Appreciate it. If I can say one more thing.
Of course.
Obviously, this is February. tomorrow being, Valentine's Day.
Oh shit, that's right.
Whatever that means to
Will
some
you be
people.
my Valentine's, Dan?
Yeah.
Will you be my Valentine?
Sorry, I think Mark would be upset.
Right.
But no, but some of my meditations this month have been a lot about like self-love and spreading love and whatnot. And obviously talking about Brene Brown, I'm excited to read this book that I just picked up. And I think that for me to share something that I've read and heard from my apps about meditation, again, these aren't my own thoughts, maybe my perspective, but stuff I heard is that, I think the thing to take away from this to share with people is be comfortable living your own life. Don't be afraid to love and fail. Don't be afraid to like get hurt or I guess the way this one article I read put it, like, don't be afraid to get scarred, and
chicks take scars anyway. It's cool.
I think there's this mentality in life about like the knight in shining armor, like look how great the knight in shining armor, but really it's the knight that's battle tested, the knight that has rusted armor, torn armor, that is really the person we should admire, because that's the person that's living, that's the person that's failing. And scars are a good symbolism for.
Keep going. All I think about is that Teddy Roosevelt speech, man.
Scars are incredible symbolism that you did live, you did scar, and in many ways you're coming back stronger and you're continuing to live. So,
Totally agree.
Spread love. It's okay to be humble. It's okay to admit when you're wrong. It's okay to admit when you fucked up, and that's almost what makes you more human and more of a better person.
Yeah, you can't live in a bubble, right? You get sick whenever you step outside. It's like, you gotta go through it. The man in the arena, you've heard that.
Oh yeah,
it's like my favorite. It's true. I 100% agree. So
I would think that in my perspective,
what
I got from this was that I think people that view scars as ugly that want to judge you for your past are people that are afraid to live their own life the most. So we all have our own past, we have our own scars, that battle tested knight. I think that people that view that as ugly are the ones that are possibly not living the life they want to live and are jealous.
And they're probably really ugly on the inside too. So if you're saying a person's ugly on the outside, that means you're ugly on the inside. But you're thinking that, I'd rather be ugly on the outside than the inside. So
yeah. So well, we're right there. So it works out perfectly.
Good stuff, man. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate you. Appreciate everything you do, and I appreciate your influence here with our community, because everybody loves you. So thanks again. Signing off here.
Love y'all.
Absolute Strength Gym Podcast.